Tropical cyclone wind signal number 2 is up in parts of Batanes as Typhoon Leon made landfall over southeastern Taiwan, according to State Weather Bureau Pag-asa. Based on its 5 p.m. weather bulletin, the center of Typhoon Leon was last spotted 320 kilometers north-northwest of Itbayat, Batanes. It carries maximum sustained winds of 155 kilometers per hour near the center and gustiness of up to 255 kilometers per hour. It is moving northwestward at 25 kilometers per hour. Tropical cyclone wind signal number 2 is raised in the northern portion of Batanes, where gale force winds are expected, which may bring minor to moderate threat to life and property. Signal number 1 is up in some areas of Luzon, including the rest of Batanes, Babuyan Islands, the northern portion of mainland Cagayan, and the northern portion of Ilocos Norte. Areas under signal number 1 are expected to experience strong winds, bringing very light or no damage to low-risk structures, as well as light damage to medium to high-risk structures. After crossing the landmass of Taiwan, Leon will then turn northeastward over Taiwan Strait towards the East China Sea. It is forecast to exit the Philippine area of responsibility on Thursday night, October 31, or Friday early morning, November 1. President Bongbong Marcos assures Filipinos that the government remains in full control despite the destruction caused by severe tropical storm Kristine and Typhoon Leon. In a statement on Thursday, October 31, Marcos says that while the country's resources and personnel may be stretched due to the impact of typhoons, it will still have sufficient assets to mitigate worst impact. Marcos adds that the country can recover from the wreckage brought by Kristine and Leon. The president also reports that relief and recovery efforts continue in areas affected by Kristine, while preparations are ramping up for the possible onslaught brought by Leon. According to Marcos, all agencies and instrumentalities of government remain on full alert and are ready to deploy aid wherever it may be needed. Based on the latest situational report from the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, 150 people died from the effects of Kristine and Leon. The national and local governments are on high alert for the anticipated effects of Typhoon Leon, according to the Presidential Communications Office. In a statement on Thursday, October 31, PCO says President Bongbong Marcos has directed all concerned government units to ensure the safety of affected residents. It adds that the national and local government units are on high alert as they closely monitor the trajectory of Leon. PCO reports that Batanes Governor Marilu Cayco said the evacuation and aid distribution are ongoing in their province, with food packs being distributed to residents. According to PCO, Cayco reported that healthcare and social welfare personnel were also deployed to evacuation centers. On Wednesday night, October 30, strong winds and heavy rains battered the province of Batanes after tropical cyclone wind signal number 5 was raised in the area. PCO also says that the Department of Social Welfare and Development has pre-positioned nearly 2,000 family food packs for the residents of Batanes. On top of this, more than 5,000 additional family food packs will be transported by a Philippine Coast Guard vessel to Batanes as soon as the weather permits, according to the PCO. The PCO also reports that the Armed Forces of the Philippines is closely working with other government agencies for the transport of needed supplies and relief to affected residents, especially in northern Luzon. Two lawmakers are calling out former President Rodrigo Duterte, urging him to avoid using profanity during formal legislative hearings. During the Senate Blue Ribbon Subcommittee hearing on Duterte's war on drugs, the former president used offensive language while explaining his stance against illegal drugs and criminality. In reaction to this, Manila Representative Bienvenido Abante Jr. and Laguna Representative Dan Fernandez say that Duterte should refrain from using profanity and inappropriate language in formal legislative hearings. Abante says Duterte's conduct may perhaps be acceptable if he was just a private person. Abante adds that it is frightening that a former president of the country would speak of such words. For his part, Fernandez questions whether or not anyone from the upper chamber had moved for Duterte's profanity to be removed from the Senate's records. According to Fernandez, if Duterte spoke in that manner in House's Quadcom hearings, he would ensure that it would not make it to the official records. Senate President Francis Chis Escudero previously made a categorical stand against the use of profanity in the upper chamber, maintaining that the public should not get used to such language. The Senate chief's remarks came after Senator Rizzo Hontiveros called out Duterte for spewing profanity during the Senate hearing on the drug war. The Philippine National Police reports that over 31,000 policemen were deployed nationwide to ensure public safety as the country observes All Saints' Day and All Souls' Day or Undas this year. In a press briefing on Thursday, October 31, PNP spokesperson Brigadier General Jean Fajardo says they have dispatched more police officers to brace for the influx of passengers in terminals across the country. Fajardo adds that police regional offices have been on heightened alert since October 28 and started soft deployments since then. Fajardo reiterates that regional directors were given the discretion to increase the number of deployments depending on the prevailing security situation in their respective areas. According to Fajardo, the police force has not yet monitored any serious threats other than those who brought prohibited items in cemeteries. Fajardo reminds the public to observe the guidelines released by local government units for cemeteries.